Zero Mile is a Terminus Media production. If you would like to know more about Terminus Media, please head on over to terminusmedia.com. Now, on with your show.
Hi, welcome to Zero Mile, your final stop in Atlanta's geek culture. I'm your host, Kelly McDaniel, and these are my co-hosts,
Zonga Fielding.
And Chris Cowan.
And this segment is Zero Mile Going Off the Rails, sponsored by Terminus Media. And basically, this is our segment where we discuss one topic of the week, where we go full steam ahead into it and just nerd out. And today's topic for this week is Ghost in the Shell.
Created by Masamune Shiro.
Yeah, so what really we're trying to hyper-focus on into the movie. Obviously, we are super fans and have tons of information for you. But, you know, the new movie's coming out starring Scarlett Johansson as the Major, directed by Rupert Sanders. Really, his biggest credit is Snow White and the Huntsman. And writer Jamie Moss, which is, again, kind of a new up-and-coming writer. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's kind of discuss on what we're expecting this movie to be, why we expect this movie to be, and...
I want to go and get the elephant out of the room right now. Bato with his interchangeable robot eyes. He looks like a manlet and he's small and tiny and not the big imposing Bato that he's supposed to be from what the trailers have showed me. Of course, I can be proved wrong after I watch the movie, but as of right now, this is outrage from something I haven't seen yet.
As all good nerd outrage.
All right.
I just wonder if they're going to put the ponytail on in post-production.
I mean...
Yeah, well, I guess...
Possibly. Well, what about the mullet of all mullets? Will
So?
that be there?
I hope so.
I mean, mullets of all mullets should definitely be there.
I mean, it was the 90s.
It was the 90s, but...
They should bring it back.
They should bring it back. Especially because it's set in 2039, 2040.
Yeah, by retro standards, they should be back by then.
Yeah, it should be back by then. So, I want to bring up a giant thing about... everybody's kind of really upset about Scarlett Johansson as the Major. They feel like it should be played by a Japanese actress. But the thing is, actually, the movie, the 1995 cartoon movie, is not, or anime movie, but, you know, animation, is not actually set in Japan. The manga is, all the TV shows are, but the movie itself actually derived from director Oshii. Decided he wanted to base everything off in Hong Kong and literally drew everything in Hong Kong. They're actually drinking a beer that is only in Hong Kong. It's a Filipino beer, San Miguel's. They're drinking it left and right in that movie. And it would make sense in 2040 to have people of multiple ethnicities within Hong Kong, a giant international shipping hub.
But her name is Makoto Kusanagi, and that should denote, even if it's not a Japanese person, Asian in some form or fashion.
Well, with the world becoming the huge melting pot thing, like even in other sci-fi stuff, like Firefly, you had the Sino-American alliance. There's some intermingling, so who's to say that the Major could not be the offspring of something like that, or just have a name deriving from said region.
I mean, that's the whole, it's the thing is like, you're telling me that there can't be mixed races and
no,
there can't
I'm
be
not
people
saying
with that name. Because that's literally kind of what you're getting into is like, oh no, she has to look this way, which she could have somebody down the line. She could be named after her grandmother. There's stuff that we didn't really delve into the mangas and stuff like that can still relate to this movie. And
just market forces.
Yeah.
Putting a movie out on the West, might want to have some Western actors in there so people will actually go see it in theaters.
I can agree, but that's also stating a fact that Asian leads can't carry a movie. No.
And I don't think that that's what they're meaning, but like in this, and as just in general, China is a giant market for movies now. And the thing is, unfortunately, they're not asking for actors from their country. They're asking for Tom Cruise. They're asking for Matt Damon. They're asking for Scarlett Johansson because these are the movies they want to see because they were movies that with these
Yes.
leads that they weren't allowed to see 5, 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
So this is something that they literally have to think about a worldwide market, and that's another reason why I think that they're wanting Hong Kong.
Perfectly okay with the concept that I've been backing the whole entire time, that China is the reason why Hollywood's been going the way it is, and it's kind of terrible right now.
It might be terrible. I'm just saying that people can't necessarily hate on this movie.
Yeah, I know there are many factors.
I mean, there's so much, just like the fact that, Masamune Shiro, and I butchered Masamune. I know I butchered his first name. I do at least have it. But Shiro, has come out and said every iteration that has ever been made is its own different pocket universe of this story, and they are all great in their own way.
And they also build off of something different.
Yeah.
With his original philosophy. And the creator, Masamune, is kind of a bit, in my opinion, I'm going to say pseudo-intellectual, but I don't mean that in a negative connotation.
No,
because in the manga, the
work is crazy. Yeah, no.
Yeah, in the original manga, he wrote notes, side notes about things like spirit photography.
I really wish I had it just not digitally, because to pull it up and show, and everybody really needs to go look at it.
Mm-hmm.
He literally has so many notes explaining the technology and the side panels of the manga.
And also stuff that's supplementary and probably doesn't even matter in the thing, such as spirit photography.
It's ridiculous.
It's like the Les Mis of manga.
A little, but the thing is he went so hardcore into every little aspect of this world that
he was expounding,
and he just threw it out at everyone, because that was the whole point, was he wanted you immersed in this futuristic world. Yeah. So it's so crazy, but I think that also plays into any different iteration that comes out. Mm-hmm. They're still taking from the original source.
Of course.
They're taking from his his information and then running with it, because there's a lot like what he was saying back in 1989 that is now obsolete in terms of technology.
Agreed.
And so that's one reason why they keep doing updating the movies, like they did Ghost in the Shell 2.0.
And the new one, Ghost in the Shell, the new movie. Which came out in 2015.
Yeah, and they just kind of play on that. That's one reason why the standalone complex was so amazing, because they basically kind of went into, hey, this has been 20 years now into the internet world.
Cyberpunk, basically.
Yeah, and we can delve more into human interactions and the human psyche within the digital world, because now we were a part of it.
That, and even Masa also put in the original Ghost in the Shell work, one of the things that he wrote about was schizophrenia and various mental illnesses, and how he would deal with it if he had them, and a bunch of weird stuff like that, and people hearing voices in their heads, and hearing voices coming out of machines like radios and televisions that weren't there.
Yeah, and then to play on another thing, because I know a lot of people are really, really also, they're kind of just angry at the fact they're kind of well, I feel like if they're going to make this movie, they need to have a new movie. They don't need to be using what is in the animes, what's in the manga. But it's guess what? There's only one story. There's one main story and a bunch of side stories.
You can do several different side stories and have it be a franchise.
But here's the thing. What did you start off with? What was your first story that you started off with? That's the main story from 1985. That's the main story in the manga from 1989. They're got to do the same thing.
Yeah, I started off with the movie, never read the manga. I've only ever seen
it's one story
in the TV show. So the thing that got me hooked in the trailer was those little snippets of the scenes from the original animated feature, where I was yes.
Yeah, they're okay.
Exactly.
Certain things didn't translate well to me personally, but
they're not going. I mean,
of course,
it just can't happen, because unfortunately, what we can draw doesn't necessarily mean it's going to relate well in live action. Instead of using prosthetics and CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the Laughing Man's thing would look weird with the 2D weird face. Trying to show that in an actual movie is going to look super weird versus doing it animated.
I want to bring up another point. Of course, There's a series that he did that Masamune Shiro did before he did Ghost in the Shell, and they're kind of linked. Well, they're probably literally in the same universe. It's called Appleseed. Appleseed, he wrote it, and it came out in 1985. It's literally, they have the same corporate structures, the same companies, the same law system, the same government organizations and officials that are in Ghost in the Shell. It's just quite literally probably a different paramilitary team doing stuff.
Yeah.
Or one of the other, those weird, like, nameless countries that they never really bring
Yeah,
up.
well, I mean, it is the mangas and most of the TV series. I mean, it's a fictionalized Japanese city that it's set in. It's just is really funny that the movie that we all come to know and love, again, is basically set in futuristic Hong Kong and not in Japan.
Neo Tokyo.
Yeah, Neo Tokyo.
Brought to you by the United States.
It's not Tokyo. But it's not Tokyo. But it's
actually in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Neo Gotham, Batman Beyond. That's what it is.
Of course.
I feel like I should have picked up a 6-pack of San Miguel on the way over.
Oh
here.
yeah. Hold on, I had something.
Movie. Let's stick
the
to
movie. Yes, we're trying to stick to the movie. I did have. That's what I'm saying is I had something and I totally lost it, and it's like I have all my information to discuss this,
right,
but not what I was going to do it.
Thought train.
All right.
So just off the first trailer I saw and the snippets I've seen of the future trailers, like when they initially announced it, I was a little taken. I was like, oh, they're gonna ruin this thing that I've loved, and they're putting Scarlett Johansson in it. But seeing her in the Avengers, I was like, all right, she can do action hero. She can do like stuff.
She can do a lot of
Okay.
stuff.
A lot of stuff.
But can she lead a movie like Lucy?
I don't feel like Lucy was her fault. I feel like there are just multiple problems
Or
with Lucy.
it's a movie trying to be smart, not written by smart people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blame the entire production staff. Like, don't just
Yeah.
blame one person.
I mean, at
also,
least-
Luc Besson just needs to make the sequel to The Professional, and just that's the end of
Okay.
that.
All right.
So,
Actually, that helped me remind myself because you were talking. We've talked about this previously, where you said that it was really good that Scarlett Johansson kind of has a very monotone, lower voice, and that it's
But
very
she's supposed to.
robotic. But no, she's not. In the manga, she's wisecracking. She's emotive. She's human.
One-liners
She's a
does not
humanistic-
denote wisecracking to me.
It's
just
to
snark.
me, it's
and you can deliver snark and monotone, as I do in droves.
Well, I speak
But
monotone.
no, it's
I'm snarky.
I'm just saying because we all know and love the character we saw in the 1995 movie. That's really what it boils down to, which is not what was in the mangas. It's a different character
Sort of.
altogether. It really is, and then it kind of evolved into a different. It evolved into different characters.
Yeah, well,
And-
each iteration of Makoto Kusanagi is different. But the main core thing is she's always viewed herself as a tool and not as a
Yes.
person. So the whole lack thereof of emotion isn't actually a lack of emotion. It's her being really controlled because she doesn't see herself as a person who should be swayed by simple things like emotions. So she remains calm and cool-headed.
Mhm.
Sometimes she goes off, but not often. So she's not quite what I think she is supposed to be from what I've seen from the trailers and the movie, where, of course, the whole finding who I am plot line and who am I stuff just doesn't seem to be her to me.
Okay, no, and I mean, I can understand that. I just think that in this, iteration and in the newer iterations, it is kind of more of a common topic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't see in terms of the train that everything is going in, that it's out of the realm of a possibility.
Yeah.
Without, that it can still be good. It's not losing the character. And it still fits within the theme of this entire franchise of who am I and how do I work with technology and with everything going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially, no, she's not human. It's just her, but her mind is human.
Yeah.
I don't want the Major's backstory. Like, I didn't need it in the first movie. I didn't need it in Innocence.
I don't
didn't
think we're
need it in
gonna fully
Standalone
get a
Complex.
backstory.
Like,
I don't fully
care.
think we're gonna get a backstory. I think that it's probably questioning, especially marketed towards people who have never seen anything about this whatsoever. They're gonna go into it going, "Oh yeah, we totally need to know this main character. We totally have to understand this." But then once they get in, it's gonna.
In some cases, that ruins movies, though, going way into backstories and flashbacks and stuff. Like, I will compare that concept of, I guess, think about, I'll go with something like...
Think about all those westerns, like the Clint Eastwood, you get that nameless dude who just shows up, wrecks the day for the bad guys, and you know absolutely nothing about him.
And that makes him cool. You don't need that backstory. Like, when you got backstory, let's go with Star Wars, where it sort of like ruins the character, like Darth Vader, your Boba Fett, all of that stuff. We can go to another movie that actually just recently came out, or a sequel to a movie that recently came out, where you go into John Wick, where they don't give you an explanation of characters or whomever. The world feels lived in. It feels like everyone already knows each other. They don't walk to each other like video game characters and say, I am this is my backstory, da-da-da-da-da, and you have to go here to this point in this specific thing. No,
but that's what I'm saying. They're not going to actually fully go into her backstory, but they're using clips of her saying the stuff, which could actually
to humanize the character.
Could be in the movie, could not be in the movie, to humanize the character and to bring people who are not fans into it. It's just like what they did with Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars fans hated the Force Awakens, commercials and TV spots because they weren't geared towards the fans. They felt like too much was being given and all the stuff, and they actually found out that a lot of it didn't ever make the cut. It wasn't in the real movie, and they used it because it wasn't going to be in the real movie to spoil anything, but it helped bring people in who did not know Star Wars previously.
That I can agree with. Like, I can agree with the aspect of humanizing a character for the common person, but you can do that without ruining or taking things away from the character aspects from the character.
And I just think that they're probably using a newer iteration from the newer the TV show that came out 2015. I think that they're using parts of the original manga where you do get a little bit of her backstory, a little bit more than everything
sometimes
else, but
adding too much is a bad thing. We've seen that with Batman vs Superman, where they tried to cram in so many different storylines together.
Well, here's another thing on that too, though. Here's another thing on that. You're talking about Batman vs Superman, where that was written in 3 months, basically, tops. They've been working on this as a live-action movie
for
since
years.
1995, since the same time as The Matrix. That's one reason why, if you go side by side with the action shots from the 1995 anime film and The Matrix, it's almost a shot-for-shot exact scenes of action. No, you can look on YouTube. There's tons of comparisons. And it's because they were in talks with them at the same time. And it has been in talks for basically, over 20-something years at this point.
Like a live-action Akira movie, which I hope never happens.
Yeah, like a live-action Akira movie. At one point, it will probably be okay.
No, read the manga. The movie's actually garbage compared to the manga. I'm one of those people.
Okay. And that's fine. But what I'm saying is
actually Akira was the anime that got me into anime, and so I'm worried I'm gonna read the manga and it's gonna be so much better that I'm gonna hate the movie that made me love the thing.
Long story short, in the manga, Akira is actually a person who comes to life and starts trying to dominate and take over stuff. But back to Ghost in the Shell.
There you go.
Now you're going off the rails.
Going off the rails to go off the rails
on this crazy train.
Whew. All right. But
my mental wounds are not healing.
No, it's not. But that's it's the whole thing, and I truly believe after kind of looking at everything and rereading things and just kind of trying to decide if I really like where this new movie is gonna go, and if I like the fact that it's a new movie, I actually am not upset. I'm very cautious as a fan, but I'm hopeful because I don't see where they really can go
wrong.
Unless they just decide to say, screw this. and we're going to just go full Hollywood. If they're going to try and stick to the material and honor the material the way that they seem to have been trying to do, I don't see anything where it might not be the best movie, but it's not going to be like ungodly, terrible.
Agree. Like, a good story will always be a good story unless they say scrap the story.
Yeah.
If her mother's name is Martha, I'm gonna lose. I want some good old school cyberpunk. I want to be like, all right, I remember this from the movie. This is a little bit of some Blade Runner influence coming in here. Get a little bit of Neuromancer in on the side. I want Scarlett Johansson to draw in some stuff from Under the Skin, where she was just creepy and weird and not quite human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm psyched. Actually, the more I've seen of this, the more psyched I've gotten. Like I said, they gave me these little teasers of I was like, oh, that shot was in the original movie.
Yeah.
The costuming looks really good. Like the Major's outfits, look really close to how they do
those,
that. The whole
except Bato.
I don't really like the nude suit. I kind of would have preferred her to actually just have been naked, but
probably contractual obligations.
Yeah. I mean, it's the difference between PG-13 and R. R-rated movies don't get as big of a budget, usually not as big of a box office crawl. That's why Hugh Jackman took a pay cut for Logan.
Yeah.
But even with like the nude suit, she had an actual suit thing on.
Yeah. Yeah,
you don't need all the Ghibli bits.
But of course it is a little, like I said, it's where things that are animated don't necessarily translate well live action.
Agreed.
So
I really want to see how they do the thermoptic camouflage live action.
Okay. I'm excited to see the visual effects. I think that's really where this movie is going to shine. It's going to be its visual effects and its post-production design.
It'll probably be a really good popcorn movie, I think.
Maybe.
Popcorn in San Miguel.
So, guys.
Popcorn in San Miguel.
So, guys. Final thoughts.
Okay. Like I said, final thoughts is I am hopeful, cautiously hopeful and optimistic that this is actually going to be the movie that they have wanted since 1995.
Okay.
I'm hyped. I am hyped.
I want to say I, myself, am cautiously optimistic. I still have several issues, but of course, I'm going to actually just have to watch the movie, see if it's good or not, and then give my full opinions afterwards. So, I guess this has been 0 Mile Off the Rails, and this is Zonga Fielding. You can catch me at Zonga Audio on Twitter.
I am Kelly McDaniel. You can catch me at Girl Friday Cause on Twitter.
And I'm Chris Cowan. You can catch me on Twitter at Mutant Biscuit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.
And you can also email us at 0mile@terminusmedia.com.
Yeah, please give us your feedback and maybe some topic discussions that you would like to see on the show. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.